The apartment was perfect. At least, that's what Emily told herself. It was cheap, spacious, and had a beautiful view of the city skyline. The landlord had seemed almost too eager to rent it out, quickly handing over the keys after a rushed handshake. But she didn't care. It was her fresh start, a new beginning after the mess she had left behind. That first night, she settled into her new bedroom, exhausted from a long day of unpacking. The room was cozy plain white walls, a wooden floor, and a single window overlooking the street below. The only odd thing was the light fixture. Unlike the rest of the apartment, which had modern LED bulbs, this room had an old-fashioned ceiling light with a dim, yellowish glow. It flickered slightly, but she ignored it. By midnight, she was sound asleep. Then she heard it, a whisper. At first, she thought it was the wind. Maybe the building creaked. Maybe her mind was playing tricks on her after a long day. But as she turned over in bed, pulling the covers tighter around her, she heard it again. "Don't turn off the light." Emily sat up, her breath hitching. She looked around the room, eyes scanning every corner. Nothing. Just the stillness of the night and the dim glow from the ceiling light. She laughed nervously, running a hand through her hair. "Great! I'm already scaring myself." Shaking her head, she reached over and switched off the light. The whisper started immediately. Soft, hurried voices, overlapping each other, coming from the walls, from the floor, from the darkness itself. "Don't turn it off. Keep it on. They'll come." Emily's heart pounded as she fumbled for the switch, her fingers trembling. She turned the light back on, and the whispers stopped. Silence. She sat there, gasping for breath. Her eyes darted around the room, but nothing seemed out of place. The apartment was quiet again, the only sound being her own ragged breathing. "This is ridiculous," she whispered to herself. "I must be overtired." But she didn't turn the light off again that night. The next day, Emily tried to shake off the fear. She went to work, distracted herself, convinced herself it was just her imagination. But when she returned home that evening, the memory lingered like a shadow in the back of her mind. That night, she decided to test it. She turned off the light. Instantly, the whispers started again, louder this time. Urgent, desperate. "Turn it back on. They see you now. They're moving." Her blood turned to ice. Who was moving? A chill ran down her spine as she felt something shift in the room. The air thickened, pressing against her skin. The darkness felt alive, stretching toward her like unseen hands reaching from the void. Panic seized her, and she threw herself at the light switch. The moment the room was illuminated, the whispers ceased. Emily stood there, panting, her entire body shaking. She turned slowly, scanning the room. Nothing, but she wasn't imagining it. Something was there. Something watched her in the dark. Over the next few days, she never turned the light off. She slept with it on, showered with it on, lived in its dim, flickering glow. She barely left the apartment, her fear growing like a sickness. She needed answers. One evening, after hours of debating, she went to her landlord. The old man's face went pale the moment she mentioned the bedroom. I told you not to turn it off," he murmured, rubbing his hands together nervously. Emily's stomach twisted. "You knew?" He sighed heavily, looking around as if making sure no one else was listening. Then, in a hushed voice, he spoke. "The last tenant." She didn't listen. She turned off the light. And then, she was gone. Emily's breath caught in her throat. Gone? The landlord's eyes darkened. Vanished. No trace. Just gone. She shuddered. But why? What's in that room? The old man hesitated before answering. They don't like the light. They can't touch you when it's on. But in the dark, he trailed off. Emily swallowed hard. She had to get out. She had to move. But that night, she made one final mistake. A storm rolled in, knocking out the power. The light went out. The whispers didn't come this time. Only silence. A deep, suffocating silence. Then, movement. A slow, deliberate creak of the floorboards. Emily's breath came in sharp gasps. She reached for her phone, fumbling to turn on the flashlight. But before she could, something moved in the darkness closer, closer. A cold breath against her ear. A voice, barely a whisper. You should have listened. The next morning, the apartment was empty. The landlord found her belongings untouched. Her phone still on the bed. Her front door locked from the inside. Emily was gone. And that night, the whispers returned, waiting for the next tenant who dared to turn off the light.